Hello friends, today I'm going to talk about role and responsibilities of an accountant. I know many of you are preparing for the finance job, but do you know what roles can be offered to you? So today I'm going to give you more clarity about the roles and responsibilities of an accountant. My name is Satyaranjan Jana and I have been working in the finance team from last 17 to 18 years with the experience of accounting, treasury, taxation. And today I'm going to talk about the role and responsibilities what can be offered to you along with the skills what you require, and I'll be talking about the salary what you can expect for each role as well. So let's start. So when it come to accounting department, there are three major branch, or you can say three major department. The first one is P2P, okay. Second one is R2R, and the third one is O2C. There is no sequence, but I'm just dividing into three parts. P2P is procure to pay. Okay, you procure, it could be your service, it could be your material, and till you make payment to the vendor, all the role and responsibilities under you. R2R, record to report. Okay, reporting means preparation of financial statement. I'll talk more about that when I talk about each individual roles. And the last one is O2C, order to cash. That means the customer orders to the company, and till you collect the cash, it's under your responsibilities. Now let's start with P2P, procure to pay. What are the role and responsibility of a P2P team? Okay, so as I explained to you in the beginning, procure to pay, right? The first major activity of a P2P person is to record the invoice in the ERP system. Okay, so when you are going to record the invoice in the ERP system, it's just not like you just post accounting entry. The major role is to verify that whatever invoice the vendor has raised is as per the purchase order issued by the company. For example, you have issued a purchase order for 100 quantity. It is not possible that the vendor is raising an invoice for 110, right? So you have issued a contract for 100, you should get material for 100. Similarly, on the rate side, if you have agreed that you will be paying 10 rupees per quantity, it is not possible that the vendor is charging you 11 rupees, right? So there is a concept called as three-way match where the GRN, the PO rate, and the invoice all are tallied, and then the invoice is processed. This is the primary responsibility of a P2P person. Now, once it is recorded, the second job of this person is to see that if there is a difference in the PO and the invoice, then he has to escalate this matter to the purchase team or the business who is receiving these services so that they can talk to the vendor. If required, a credit note or a debit note can be issued from the company. So that is the role and responsibility of the person who is processing the invoice. Okay, or else he park this invoice in the block. That means okay, processed but blocked for payment unless you have all the solutions. Another role of P2P team is to make the payment. Okay, so as the invoice is processed, the payment will be done by another person because of the SOD. You can't have all the power given to one person. Okay, so there will be a person who is responsible to make the payment. Now, payment can be for import, payment can be for the local as well. Okay, if the person doesn't have knowledge about import payments, then there can be another guy who will be responsible for import payments. But most of the company try to keep one person who can take responsibility of both the payments. Now, while making the payment, again, many companies have automatic system where they run the payment run and make the payment. If there is no automatic process or the ERP doesn't support automatic payment, then manual checks or manual NFT transfer has to be prepared by this person. Another important role of P2P is to do the vendor reconciliation. And in most of the interviews, you will find this question if you are applying for P2P role, that how do you do the vendor reconciliation? And why it is very important? Because you have to ensure that your books is accurate and it is matching with the vendor's statement, right? If the vendor shows that X amount is receivable from you and you shows Y amount payable, then that is not correct. That means you are either overstating your books or you are understating your books. So this is one of the critical area. Apart from that, balance sheet reconciliation is one of the critical area for the P2P team. What is balance sheet reconciliation? Ensuring that whatever ledgers are under your control, for example, GRN ledger. Sometimes I have seen practically that the GRN is prepared, but the business team submits the invoice only after 1 month, 2 months, whenever they feel so, right? So in that case, you have to chase the people and ensure that the GRN what is prepared, because GRN is prepared based on the invoice and the material receipt. Now, it should not be taking time to submit that invoice to the finance team, right? So in that case, you have to chase the people, you have to have good relation with the people, you have to have strong processes in the system so that the invoice is coming to your table on time so that you can process and make the payment to the vendor. In few companies, the P2P team also take care of the employee payment. That means all the claims of employees like travel, or it could be any type of claim of the employee. In that case also, either it could be manual processing, or the companies nowadays have expense management tool where the claim is processed. The P2P team validates the vouchers, validate the claims as per the policy, and then once it is approved, it is paid along with the payment run. So these are the core activity of a P2P team. Now, when it comes to skills, what skills you should have so that you are best, you can perform better in P2P team. The first skill is that you should have strong knowledge about material accounting, right? Because if you are in a manufacturing unit, definitely the material accounting knowledge is very much required. You should know at the time of GRN at what value the material is accounted. Sometimes you will see that amount is going to material variance, but you're not aware that why this amount is going to the material variance. So you should have a complete knowledge about material accounting if you are in a manufacturing company. But if you are in a service sector, then material accounting is not needed. But you should know the complete accounting entry of GRN and the IR, that is invoice posting, right? How the entries gets posted. And you should also have knowledge on the taxation part, like TDS, because in most of the payments to the vendor, you have to deduct the TDS and make the payment. Even though ERP is configured with the percentage, but sometimes it may happen that you have to validate that the correct percentage is deducted or not, right? So these are the basic need of P2P team. One more thing is you should have good communication skill, because you are the person who will be dealing with the third party, that is your vendor, plus the business team in your company, right? So if there is any gray area, there is some disputes and all that, you have to take the leadership and ensure that these are cleared on time. So communication, leading, conflict management is one of the very important area in P2P. Now coming to the salary part and the qualification what they require for P2P. In P2P, people those are mostly at the level one, mostly processing the invoice or making payment. Generally a graduate or maybe a MCOM, or sometimes it has mostly I have seen that like CA interqualified and all that, people are more engaged in these areas. Okay, but as if you are leading a P2P team, then the company may engage a chartered accountant or maybe a cost accountant who can lead the team. Okay, sometimes I have seen that even the MBA person who has knowledge on procurement to pay also get a chance to lead the team. Now, when it comes to salary, obviously in P2P, if you are at the ground level, that is at the level one, and you are having a experience of 1 to 5 year experience, then you can expect a salary like 5 to 10 lakhs. Okay, but if you are having more experience like managing conflicts or taking decisions and all that, then yes, the package can be much higher, like around 20 lakhs. And if you are in a manager role in P2P, then you can expect like 20 to 30 lakhs, depending on the company. If you are in an MNC, it could be a little bit higher by 10-15%. But if you are an Indian company, then 20 to 30 lakhs is the range what you can expect if you are in P2P manager role. Now, let's coming to the second part, that is R2R, record to report. Okay. So as you see the word record to report, it looks more about numbers, right? It's more, it doesn't have any relation with vendor, no, doesn't have relation with customer, but more relation with the numbers. This is the core team of the accounting, department, I can say. Why? Because they are the people who are going to report the numbers. And once numbers are reported, starting from CFO to top management, even if a group company or you have a headquarter outside India, they are more interested to know what is your result at the month end or at the quarter end or at yearly end. Now, what this team does, this team ensures that the financial statement is prepared as per the accounting standard requirement or as per the company's accounting policies, and all the notes to accounts and your related party transactions, whatever there in the notes to accounts, they complete on time. And this team works with the deadline, because management will have board meeting, management may have a audit committee meeting, and they have to ensure that these books are closed on time. Now, what is very important in this team is that you should be very strong in accounting. You can't simply say that, okay, I know some portion of accounting and other person I can just talk to people, understand and do it, but it will not work. You have to be expertise at least in the basic of accountings, right? So when I say accounting, basic of accounting means not that you should have only knowledge on material accounting, but all areas. If somebody asks that, how do I account provision for gratuity, you should know about that. How do I classify an asset into current, non-current, you should know about that. Or how do we do a revenue cutoff for IFRS 15? You should have knowledge on that, how to do a cutoff. Or maybe IFRS 16, lease accounting. So when it comes to accounting standard, right, you should have at least the basic knowledge about accounting standard. Whenever it comes to a complex area, you can discuss. You can talk to your auditors as well to take your opinion how it works when it is a complex situation. But yes, the basic accounting knowledge is must. Now, when it comes to the manager role of R2R, this person takes a higher responsibility. One is preparation of financial statement. Second major activity of our team is to handle the auditors. So whether it is an internal audit, whether it is a statutory audit, or whether it is a tax audit, in all the cases, they have an important role because they have to prepare the financial statement, convince the auditors for all type of queries, right? Giving a business update, anything complex, accounting during the year, or for example, there is a merger and demerger happening, or there is a new ERP implementation and you have to do a data transfer. So all these critical activities is taken care by the R2R team. So the manager of this team has lot of activities to be performed based on the company's decision, right? Whereas in P2P, what was happening, it's more about vendor payments. But here, whatever the decision the management takes, okay, it could be M&A, it could be a tax related activity. This person has a major role to get involved and ensure that all things are implemented on time. Now, coming to the qualification requirement in most of the companies like big MNCs, even at the ground level, those people are working in R2R. They are either CA interqualified or a BCom with higher experience in R2R profile, or mostly they recruit chartered accountants, because as you know that you should have a strong knowledge in accounting, plus you should be knowing more about accounting standards. So they take qualified guys, not only limited to chartered accountant. It could be cost accountant, or it could be a strong MBA guy coming from a tier one institutes. But mostly I've seen chartered accountants are preferred in case of preparation of financial statement. Now, at manager role, definitely you should have more knowledge on that, more knowledge on the broader knowledge of the business as well, because business understanding will help you to understand what accounting treatment has to be prepared. Now, coming to the salary range in R2R, the ground level people who are responsible for preparation of financial statement, if you are within like 5 to 6 year experience, your pay will be more than the P2P team, because you take more effort in understanding the accounting and treatments and all that. So you can expect a salary of like 10 to 20 lakhs. Okay, I'm talking about a chartered accountant. And if you're in a manager role, then obviously it could be like 25 to 35 or 25 to 40 lakhs. That's the range you can expect with CA with 10 to 12 years of experience. Now coming to the last part, last division, that is O2C, order to cash. Now what this team does, so order to cash is a team who deal with the customer. Okay. So when you get an order from the customer, the job of this team is to ensure that the information is passed to the production team. Production team will ensure that the product is manufactured, and the sales team will ensure that the goods are moved and the invoice are processed. Now, when the invoice is raised, after that, this O2C team has active role to ensure that the customer is making payment to the company on time. Okay. So dunning process means reminders to the customers, ensuring that we are getting the payment on time. If there is a penalty clause, then you need to raise another invoice for the penalty to the customer. So O2C is quite challenging because a lot of things will be not in your control, because making payment to vendor is easier because you have the control on the bank account. But when it comes to O2C, I have seen that many companies struggle to perform better in this profile unless your customers are wealthy and they're ready to pay. There could be situations that you need to chase with the customer. There could be situations that you need to take a call to take a provision for bad debt, or you have to treat certain transaction as bad debt. Very high risky job, because if you don't perform or the collections is not up to the mark, then the management will look into your performance, because end of the day, cash inflow is more important for the organization than cash outflow. Right. Now, when it comes to O2C, at the ground level, people those are involved in dunning process, or those are involved in invoicing to the customer, they are basically like graduates and MCOM qualified and all that. It's not that they take very highly qualified people, but again, it depends on the size of the company. If it is a very bigger company, then they would prefer a qualified guy there. And the manager has very important role here to ensure that all the invoices are raised on time. The big mistake what the O2C team does is that if they miss the tracker, they forget to raise the invoice, and because of that, the company can go into cash inflow issues, because if the cash are not coming on time because you have not raised the invoice on time, then it will impact the company. So this is a very critical role to ensure that invoices are raised and the payment is received on time. Now coming to skills, at the base level, those are working more to see normal skill of accounting of customers, how it is deducted by the customers are recorded in books. So these are all related to accounting, related to customer accounting. And you should also have knowledge on accounting standard as well, because O2C team deals with IFRS 15. right? Because whether revenue to be recognized or it has to be reversed at the month end because the risk and reward or control on the products has not been moved. So in that case, this team has to have good knowledge on IFRS 15, and the manager should be able to have good communication skills to ensure that all the data flows to customer on time, all backup documents goes to customer on time, because sometimes it may happen that customer is not recording your invoice because they are still waiting the backup documents from you. So as a manager, you should ensure that all the details are flowing to the customer on time and the customer is making the payment on time. Coming to the salary bracket, if you see here, O2C, people those are at the ground level, the salary generally ranges from 5 to 10 lakh rupees. But as the manager can earn good amount, if he's a CA qualified, it could be like 15 to 25 or 30 lakhs if he's CA with 10 to 12 year experience. So these are the three critical verticals of accounting department. And if you are into compliance, mostly there is a small team under the accounting team, that is the compliance part. Under compliance, you'll be taking care of internal audit, you'll be taking care of statutory audit, mostly dealing or being a bridge between the auditors and the team. In that case also, there are good profiles in many of the companies where they offer good salary because you are trying to deal with the auditors, and dealing with the auditor is one of the complex activity in any company, because I know most of the company they have good amount of documentation, but sometimes when auditor comes and demand, they need to manage that. If there is no such document available, what are the best way to convince the auditor? So a person having good communication, good understands the queries of auditors, knows how to convince the auditors, are highly demanded in the market, and those people also get a good amount of salary in the organization. So these are three major verticals. So if you're preparing for the interview, I would suggest that please go through the JD and see that which particular vertical you're going to join, and understand your role and responsibilities. Because sometimes it happens that blindly we apply for the job. When you go to the interview will expect that, okay, this is a P2P role and the person should answer on P2P side, but you are going on answering on financial statement side. So there will be mismatch, and getting selected will be quite challenging. So I would suggest that go through the JD, understand what profile the company is demanding, and are you ready to do that job. The only challenge is that sometimes when you start job in a transition activity like P2P or O2C, moving to the R2R after 3-4 years is quite challenging, because your experience is more on transition accounting. Now a company giving opportunity in financial statement is quite difficult. Obviously in the same company, if you perform good, you have good relation with your stakeholders there, they trust you that you can manage in our team, then you will get an opportunity. So think twice before you start a career. It's not that P2B is good or R2R is good or O2 is good, but as R2R has more value in terms of skills, in terms of salary, and in terms of value from the organization point of view. And most of the people who are in R2R gets more challenges at the same time, they get more growth also in the organization. And in future also, if you want to get into CO4 role or get into a higher controlling role, then R2R will definitely help you in setting your career. So this is all about accounting role and responsibility. If you have any specific doubt, then please ask me in the comment box. I'll definitely reply on that. If you have not subscribed to my channel, request you to subscribe to my channel. There are many videos on interviews in my channel with questions and answers. So if you are interested to know what type of questions can come during your interviews, I have different videos for P2P, R2R, O2C. You can do into those videos. I'll put the link in the comment box as well so that you can refer them. Thank you for watching this video. Bye-bye.